Hello and welcome to my channel. I decided to try the end of the year book tag. This was created by Destiny Sidwell on YouTube. She wrote down all the questions in her description, so I'm just going to be reading them and answering them with all the books that I read this year. The first question is the most disappointing read of the year. One of my biggest disappointments of the year was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I really want to see the movie though. I feel like that's going to be good, but I should have seen it coming. President Snow, like, he was just getting on my last nerve. I feel like after reading The Hunger Games and having these MCs who you're really rooting for, it's like so fun to read them because of that. I wasn't rooting for President Snow at all. I mean, like, I was at some points. I was like, can you just like be better, be a better person? Overall though, I feel like his character just really disappointed me. So I know that's kind of like skirting the question a little bit, but you know what? It was disappointing. It was my most disappointing read of the entire year. I was just so upset after I read that. I was like, I feel like I just wish I didn't even read it. That being said, it was a good book. Like, it was a good book. It was well written. I just really did not enjoy reading it. Underdog book of the year. An Underdog book of the year is Blade of Secrets. I haven't heard anyone talking about this one, and it's really good, a really good YA fantasy. I love the found family, I love the adventure aspect, and the romance is so good. I rated it 5 stars. I just had such a good time reading it. The pacing was good. A book that was overhyped. Of course, like, this is just my opinion. Like, I don't think it's like bad that a lot of people like it or anything. A lot of people really love Twisted Love. It's like a really popular series, or the beginning of the series. I didn't really like that book that much. I'd be willing to give some of the others a try, but that book in particular, I think I might have DNF'd it. I think I was bored. Like, I just wasn't invested in the story. So I'd say Twisted Love is the one that I would think is overhyped, even though, you know, if people like it, then they like it. Next question. Favorite book couples of the year. This question is really, like, it was hard to find the answer to this, but if I had to choose, I just recently read Check and Mate, and I love these characters together. Something about Rivals to Lovers makes the characters seem just so perfect for each other, because like they're the same in so many ways. They're like so similar and they complement each other at the same time. It's just like, it's a beautiful thing to read. I just love them together, so I would say them, and I just am a fan of both of those characters individually. Pip and Ravi from A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I love them so much. This is one of the best things I discovered this year. It's just such a sweet romance, and I love both of the characters so much, and they're so good together. They're just so good. Like, together they give each other what they need, you know? Like, I feel like Pip just really needed the grounding vibe that Ravi gave her, and they're just so cute together, and I love them. They make me smile thinking of them. Favorite main characters of the year. This is another one where I just feel like I have a lot of favorite main characters, but I read the Percy Jackson books for the first time this year, and I love those characters. I love Percy Jackson. The humor is great. They're very lovable characters, and they're just also, they feel real. Like, they're just funny in a very real way. The Naturals, I love the characters in The Naturals, and not just Cassie, the main character. Like, I love all of them. Michael, Sloane, they're my favorites. I love them so much. Sloane is just one of the most lovable characters I've ever read about, and Michael is hilarious, sarcastic, just the comedic relief that you need. As you can see, there's a trend here. I just really like when characters are funny, especially in like really serious situations. They just crack a joke. It just makes me, it makes my heart warm. It's heartwarming. I don't know why I said it like that. A Curse for True Love, this follows the same theme because I love Jax so much. He's one of my favorites, and he does the same sort of thing where he's like sarcastic and stuff in those situations. I really love Evangeline too. I really like how they, you know, evolve throughout the books. A book that surprised me. I originally had a different answer to this, but I want to use that book for a different question, so I'll just say Haunting Adeline is a book that surprised me. It really just surprised me because crazy stuff happened in it, and I was just like shocked. I didn't really like it, but it certainly surprised me. New favorite author that you discovered in 2023. I discovered Ashley Poston pretty early on in the year. I read The Dead Romantics, and I absolutely loved it. And then, like, kind of recently-ish, The 7-Year Slip came out, and I loved that one so much. These two together solidified Ashley Poston as one of my new favorite authors. I just love this vibe of romance where I feel like I'm having a great time reading it, but I'm also like, it's so peaceful, and I feel like I'm like, I don't know, growing a little bit when I'm reading it. It's just so enjoyable, you know? Like, I feel like I'm getting a lot from it. Happiest read of the year. I have a lot of happy reads this year. Ali Hazelwood for me is a pretty reliable author for like if you want a happy vibe, and Love Theoretically was a very happy vibe reading it. I just felt very light. I felt like I was, you know, the feeling when you like get butterflies and you're like giggling and stuff and you're having like a great time. I truly love books like that so much. I feel like A lot of times when I read, that's what I'm looking for. Simply good vibes. Most frustrating book you read in 2023. It's gotta be Magnolia Parks. I vlogged, like, I think it was like a cozy reading vlog or something. Like, I vlogged a little bit of me reading this one. I don't know if that's the vlog that it was in, but I was so frustrated. It's actually so funny, like, looking back, because I was stressed out reading this book. I felt like I was put through the ringer reading this. It really comes down to the characters and the decisions that they make, and I was just so done by the end of it. I enjoyed a lot of it, and I felt like I was thinking about it so much. It really got me connected to it for sure. It got me invested, like very invested. But because of that, I was even more frustrated with the decisions the characters were making, and it was just so like infuriating. That's such an easy answer for me, because this one I had just like one of the biggest reactions that I have to a book, being like, why are they doing this? So yeah, Magnolia Parks takes the cake for that one. Best adaptation of the year. This answer is because I could not think of another one. I know The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out, but I have not watched that movie. So I would say Daisy Jones and the Six. Also, it was really good. Like, not just because it was the only one, but it was like a really good adaptation. I enjoyed the show. It definitely has some more like serious vibes to it like the book does. So just be like prepared for that watching the show, but it's really good. And I think they did a great job, and I enjoyed it. Also, the fact that there was an entire album that came out, and those songs were really good. Like, those were some nice songs. I still like when they come on and I hear them, I like them. Longest book that I read this year. Okay, I'm starting to wonder if I read this book last year, but I think it was this year. Maybe I just didn't put it in Goodreads or something. I read The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. This is like the chunkiest book that I could find that I think I read this year. It's heavy. Like, I feel like I could use this as a weight. I enjoyed this one. This one was pretty good, but honestly, like, it did feel long. Like, it actually really did feel long when I was reading it. I was like, you know what? This could be a little shorter. It could. Shortest book you've read this year. It's hard because like the fonts are all like, I don't really know like how to gauge what the shortest book is, but the smallest looking book that I own or that I have read this year is Ellen Hilderbrand, Winter in Paradise. I think it's just the packaging of the book that makes it look so small, because the words inside are actually like very tiny, so it's probably a lot longer than I think it is. This was a really good book. This is like a fiction, like mystery with little bit of romance in it book. It kind of has like Big Little Lies vibes. Favorite covers of the year. Pretty book covers make me so happy. I have two. I really like the What Happens After Midnight cover. I think this is a really cute cover. I love like the purple. I just think this is really aesthetically pleasing. And then also this book that I got recently, partially because of the cover, and it's really good so far, but I'm only on like page 18. The Feeling of Falling in Love, and it's such a pretty cover. Like, I never get books with covers like this because I feel like a lot of times they're fictions and they don't sound interesting to me always, but this one sounded interesting and it's so cute. A book you haven't stopped thinking about. I don't want to use one that I already talked about, but I feel like it would be one that I already talked about. I'm just gonna say a book that I can't stop thinking about right now in my life is the Natural series. I recently read the third book, so that's probably partially why. I'm not someone who like, I feel like there's not one book that I think about all the time, or there's not even like a group of like 3 books I think about all the time. I just usually am thinking about whatever book I read recently. But these books I do think about every once in a while because I think they're just really good. I love the characters, and I also just think that the mystery vibe is part of what keeps me thinking about it a lot, because I'm always wondering like what is happening, especially because I'm in the middle of the series and there's like an ongoing mystery where I'm at right now. This isn't a 2023 book that I read, but I think about the Hunger Games a lot. In the scope of like all the books that I've read, my mind goes back to the Hunger Games a lot. It's like my Roman Empire. An unpopular book that I loved. I'm excited to talk about this because I feel like I want to talk about it. What Happens After Midnight it's a popular book. The Summer of Broken Rules and What Happens After Midnight, they're popular books, but I feel like this one was a lot less loved than The Summer of Broken Rules. I feel like a lot more people just didn't really like this one compared to that one. I actually like this one even better than The Summer of Broken Rules. It is kind of cool when that happens because everyone just has like a different, you know, experience with certain books. But yeah, I really love this one, and I had so much fun reading it. Like, it's definitely was a contender for the books that made me happy because I was really happy reading this. Favorite quotes of the year. This one's really hard because I do not like usually remember quotes. I will tell you some that I've just thought of. I don't know if they're like my all-time favorites of this year, but I really like them. From The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. We aren't the things we collect, acquire, read. We are, for as long as we are here, only love the things we loved, the people we loved, and these, I think these really do live on. I thought that was beautiful. Of course, we have an Emily Henry book in here because she really writes a lot of quotes that I absolutely love. She smiles, like when she looks back at it all, she sees the happiness of that day she spent here with her parents, rather than the pain of what came after. Like even when something beautiful breaks, the making of it still matters. And I was like, that's beautiful. This is a response to someone who's like, why are you wasting your time doing this? And then she's like, because it makes me happy, I say, and I don't consider anything that does that a waste of time. And I thought, yeah, that's beautiful. I'll throw in a Daisy Jones in the sixth one just because it feels illegal not to since I read this year. Just two bitches playing rock and roll. That's my favorite one. It's so hard to choose one from these. Oh gosh, this book was heart-wrenching. Oh my god, you know a quote that kills? Everything that made Daisy burn made me burn. Everything I loved about the world, Daisy loved about the world. Everything I struggled with, Daisy struggled with. We were two halves, we were the same. In that way that you're only the same with a few other people. In that way that you don't even feel like you have to say your own thoughts because you know the other person is already thinking them. How could I be around Daisy Jones and not be mesmerized by her, not fall in love with her? I couldn't. I just couldn't. Crazy. This book is so good. I'm like reading like a moment in the book and I feel like I'm gonna cry. Makes you want to live to fight another day, doesn't it? Oh my god, this is one of my favorites. Simone said, do me a favor, picture a map of the world. I was not in the mood. She said, just picture it, so I did. And she said, and you're in LA, you're a blinking light. You with me so far? And I said, sure. And you know you blink brighter than anybody. You get that, don't you? And I said, sure, just humoring her. And then she said, and then in New York today, and London on Thursday, and Barcelona next week, there's another blinking light. And that's you? I said. She said, that's me, and no matter where we are, no matter what time of day it is, the world is dark and we are two blinking lights flashing at the same time, neither of us flashing alone. I thought that was beautiful. Book with the most unique concept. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle has the most unique concept that I read this year. It is a bit of a Groundhog Day thing. Like this guy wakes up in a different host every single day trying to figure out who in this scenario murdered this girl. And he can't stop it until he figures out who did it, but there's like so much more to it that makes it so much more complex than that. I haven't read a book like this and I don't know if I ever will. I do not know if there even is a book that exists that is quite like this one. Book that you read that you would reread. I read Powerless recently and I would definitely reread this book. I thought that the banter was amazing. The romantasy was giving everything that I needed it to give, and I would totally reread this one again. Reading goal reflection, 2024 reading goal. Okay, my reading goal, I think I surpassed it by like about 10 books. My goal for the year was 70 books and right now I'm at 81. So I really read like about kind of like close to how much I said I was going to read or like wanted to read. The goals, they don't really matter that much to me. I like having my books from the year in like a separate category, and that's what I really like the most about that, is you just have all your books that you read that year in the same place, which makes videos like this and this sort of thing like really a lot simpler to do. Also, I do like reflecting back on like the books that I read. For example, my first book of the year was Daisy Jones and the Six, and it's crazy that that was a year ago. My 2024 reading goal, the number I might just keep like similar number. I think something that I really want though is I want to just read more books that I enjoy, and I know I can't really control that, but like I just want to, like I feel like this year I read a lot of books that I enjoyed, but I feel like I read a lot that were just like okay, and I just really want to have a year where I just read a bunch of books that I really like. Which really is just more of like a wish than a goal, you know? I guess one of my goals is to explore more genres, because I didn't even know that I liked the murder mystery type of genre, and then I read some books from that genre this year and I found out that it's like one of my favorite genres. I love it so much. So I definitely want to expand a little bit in 2024 and see if I could possibly like other things. I know I like memoirs too, so I kind of want to read more of those. After 2023 reading, what are you prioritizing in 2024 reading wise? I feel like I kind of answered that in the last question. Answer any of these questions that you want in the description, because I feel like it'd be interesting to hear what other people's are. I actually really like love these questions. I feel like they're really good questions. Let me know if you maybe like have one of the same answers as me, or if you have like a different one that you just want to talk about, and I'd be happy to see them because I'm interested. That was my 2023 reading tag. Thank you so much for watching. All of my social media and everything is going to be in the description. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you liked it, and I will see you in the next one.